This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain by going to squarespace.com/Kairos. Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. It's also time for my 100% honest review of the most recent update. Now, after each update, I take some time to share my thoughts about the update after I've had some time to experience it live and think about things. Then I come to you guys, step aside from my own pride and try to step aside from my own biases and give you guys my candid feedback about the game. Sometimes it's mostly negative. Sometimes it's mostly positive, but it's always 100% honest. Before we jump into things, I wanted to give a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you've ever wanted to build a website, there is one word that should pop into your mind: Squarespace. Even if you don't know how to build a site or where to host it, you should probably be thinking that same word: Squarespace. Okay, wait. You're telling me that you've never heard of Squarespace? That is literally the most crazy thing I've ever heard, because not only is Squarespace the go-to place to build a site or find a domain, they also support YouTube creators from around the world like myself and countless others so that we can make videos that you love. So, whether you want to build a website, purchase a domain, or want to support content creators like me, you should be thinking of that one word: Squarespace. 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 Use code Kairos or go to squarespace.com/Kairos to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain after a free trial with Squarespace. Okay guys, let's go ahead and jump into things, starting off with Ems. My first impressions of Ems was totally off, honestly. Originally, I didn't really like her personality too much, but she's growing on me. But I thought that she was kind of weak when she was first released, and that is definitely not true. I wouldn't say that she's weak, but I also wouldn't say that she's super strong, although she is slightly on the strong side of things. However, I will say that after Supercell released Sandy, Ems doesn't really feel like anything new, at least to me, who had Sandy. She kind of feels like a slightly less strong, free-to-play version of Sandy in some ways. Obviously, invisibility is very different than slowdown, and also her attacks pretty different than Sandy. Well, kind of different than Sandy's, but a lot of mechanics were similar to each other as far as like the roles that they fit into go though. Now don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say that Ems is a complete copy of Sandy, because she's obviously different in quite a few ways. Also guys, Supercell has been releasing a new brawler every 1 to 2 months, and I have loved that consistency. Thank you, Supercell. Overall, I would say that they've done a pretty good job of releasing new brawlers in a way that like doesn't actually make older brawlers become obsolete. You know, power creep, if you recognize that term. Now, with that said, while they've done a good job of creating characters with slightly different mechanics, I still feel like they have a ton of things that they haven't like added into the game that I hope that they will do. Things like brawlers that can change the terrain on the map with walls or bushes, or brawlers that can give speed buffs or reload buffs to your teammates. Maybe even brawlers that can transform and act completely differently when they actually charge up their super and they charge it up. Or especially brawlers that have high skill caps like Mortis that more experienced players will have a lot of fun with. Brawl Stars is a super cool game, and there are so many things that Supercell hasn't introduced into the game yet. And I really hope that they do to bring, you know, new mechanics to the game, refresh the gameplay kind of a thing. On that note, I did want to give massive props to Supercell for putting brawlers into the game so frequently though. Like I said, I really love it. Now, as a quick note, you guys know that Ems is a reward once you reach 8,000 trophies in a trophy road. I just wanted to quickly mention that I think that Supercell really needs to revamp the trophy road. You guys have said it, I've said it once before, I'm saying it again, because it ends at 14.5 thousand trophies, which is a lot easier to reach than it used to be. When the trophy road was first introduced into the game, you had to push very hard, and you had to be super skilled to reach the end of the trophy road. Since then, they made it much easier for you to push in trophies, and they've added more brawlers so that you can reach the end of the trophy road just by pushing your brawlers to 500 trophies, which even if your brawler is only like level 6 to 7, power level 6 or 7, you can do that pretty well, just as long as you have enough time. Also, with the addition of new trophy road brawlers like Tick, 8-Bit, and Ems, they've replaced the mega boxes that those brawlers were at with these new brawlers. Personally, I would rather have a new brawler than a mega box. I think everybody here can probably agree with that. But I do think that Supercell could add more rewards back into the trophy road, all the way up to what I'm suggesting, 30,000 trophies. Okay, now I know you guys are saying that is way too high, and I understand your concern. There's only been 2 people ever reached that high in the past. But as they release new brawlers, that's going to be easier to do. And also, I feel like it should be a super good accomplishment to reach the end of the trophy road, unlike how it is right now. They could add more boxes, massive star point rewards, and other things that progressively get more rewarding the higher you go, instead of like, 150 gold at the end of the trophy road. Yeah. That's what's at the end right now, 150 gold. Now, with that said, let's talk about the thing that I am most excited for in this update, which is power play. I know that most people watching this only have 3 or fewer brawlers to play in power play, but I am so stoked for this, and this gives you guys a lot of content to try and reach in the future. At the time of me preparing this video, I've only been able to play it for 1 day, and I can already tell you guys that I love it. I mean, I'm kind of assuming that Supercell is going to be able to keep people like this from playing more than 3 matches a day, and I'm confident they'll be able to do that, but honestly, let's be honest, that's pretty hilarious. I feel like I finally have a reason to focus on improving my skill in the game, not just playing, but actually improving my skill, and that is something that I have not felt in a very long time. Because once you reach a certain point, all you need to push to the #1 spot in the world is solid teammates that you can trust and more time than everybody else. And I think that everyone who has ever pushed super high in trophies will tell you that exact same thing. But with power play, it's not about grinding a ton. It's about playing better than everyone else in the world. And I love that. Now, with that said, the one thing that I do feel like is a little bit off is how important it is to have friends to play with in power play. For my 1 day playing power play, I spent basically an entire hour just trying to find 2 teammates that I could trust who already haven't played their power play matches. Finding one person was pretty easy, but then we spent a super long time inviting one person after the next, finding out that they had already played their matches. Honestly, it was kind of frustrating, but I mean, I'm glad that I did it because the alternative is playing with randoms, and that would have been a terrible decision. Because most people playing power play, like I said, have 1 to 3 brawlers available. And because of that, if you play with randoms, you're more likely to get a team comp that just isn't actually good for the map or mode. Now, I've been thinking about a lot of different ways that Supercell could possibly fix this, and I can only think of one solution that works, and I don't even like that solution. That solution would be to make it so that everybody has to play with randoms so that everyone has a fair chance. But I really dislike this suggestion because Supercell is all about building social games. And for the first time in a long time, you actually have a reason to be social with other players. Not even joking, for the first time in months, I actually dropped a message in the club chat to see if somebody was available to play. So yeah, I don't like that suggestion. I can't think of any other suggestions. So I think that power play is probably as good as it can be right now. I don't know. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts as more time goes on, and hopefully Supercell's thinking about things. If you have any suggestions that you actually like, please drop it in the comment section below, because it's a tough situation I don't know how to fix. Okay, now we're going to talk about Life Leech. I mean, Graveyard Shift. Life Leech. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about something that technically happened a couple weeks before the update, but I haven't been able to take the time to share my 100% honest thoughts with you guys since it didn't happen with the last big update. I'm talking about Code Lex, Code OJ, Code Pat, and yeah, Code Kairos. Okay, now this isn't me trying to promote my code, but Code Kairos. Okay, now that was me trying to promote my code, but these are my 100% honest thoughts. Now, you guys have been hearing from me, several other content creators who use our creator boost in the shop. Now, for the next 7 days after you do this, whenever you spend gems, Supercell will take a percentage of the money that they earned from your purchased gems and send that to the content creator that you chose to support. Obviously, as a content creator with a code, I am a big fan of this because it will help me to pay my video editor so I can create content more frequently for you guys. It'll help me purchase equipment like this mic that I purchased using the creator code, and it will also help pay for props or costumes for videos like Mortis cosplay videos, because I've done so many of those. Also, guys, I have a family to support, and I work 70 to 80 hours a week to produce enough content to take care of them, and Code Kairos helps me do that with a little bit less stress. Now, like I said, obviously, I'm a big fan of this program, but this is a 100% honest video, and there's one thing that I really feel like needs to be improved with this program. 100% honest. Obviously, I really appreciate Supercell, but 100% honest. And that is that it currently is kind of annoying and possibly even frustrating for you guys. It's annoying because the code only lasts for 1 week, and so every single time you spend gems, you need to go back into the shop, type in my code, or it won't count. Also, let's say you forgot to use the code and you really want to support a specific content creator. That can be frustrating for you if you accidentally go and spend those gems without supporting somebody and then realize later on that you forgot to use code Kairos, right? Or somebody else's code. Additionally, I don't want to have to remind people every week to use code Kairos because I feel like it could be taken the wrong way. I don't want to feel like I'm begging for people to use code Kairos. I just want people to realize, hey, you've got a great opportunity to support a content creator at no extra cost to you, and it's a great way to help build up this community. I feel like Supercell could greatly improve this feature by doing 2 things. First of all, they could increase the time to 2 weeks. Obviously, I understand why they don't want to have it like infinite time, just like sitting there forever. I really understand that. This is a lot of money that we're talking about when you talk about all of their content creators across all Supercell games. So limiting it to 2 weeks, I feel like is pretty reasonable. Second, they could at least notify you guys when your support expires and give you an option to just click on a button, say continue giving support to this content creator, or exit out of it, or choose to support a different content creator. It would be less annoying than having to go type it in every single week, and it would be a lot less frustrating for you guys as content creators, and I would have to not promote it so much. Code Kairos. Now, I did want to let you guys know that I am so thankful for your support, and I really want to let you guys know how fantastic Supercell is for creating this program. They didn't have to set this up, and between me and all of the content creators across all of their Supercell games, we're talking about a lot of money that they are giving up for you guys to support your favorite creators. And most of us are going to create content with or without this program, so I really feel like it shows how much Supercell cares about its community. So seriously guys, huge props to Supercell. We really do appreciate it. Next, let's talk about Graveyard Shift. I love this mode. I'm so happy it's back. And I'm so sad that it's temporary, probably. I know that it's Showdown, but I feel like it's a very different game mode than just Showdown. Honestly, I hope that you guys are playing the mode a ton because I know that Supercell is willing to make this a permanent mode if people are enjoying it enough. The reason why they did not keep it in the game was because it was confusing for new players, but I feel like this would be the perfect fit to rotate with Takedown and Lone Star, especially because new players wouldn't unlock this mode until they've had a chance to actually understand more of the game. I love it a ton. Let me know. Does anybody hate it? Let me know. If you hate it, I want to know who you are. No, I'm just kidding. I really want to know though. Now let's talk about Takedown Changes. Honestly, I like the mode a lot more than before. I've really enjoyed easily pushing my brawlers up to 1,000 trophies in the mode when it was very cheatable. I don't know. I call it a cheat. Most people probably wouldn't. Maybe people would. I don't know. Honestly though, at high trophies, it is still very much a DPS race where everyone mostly ignores each other and just goes for the boss. But it's a lot much more of a forgiving race than it was before because of the immunity shield. Also, most of the spawn points are actually a lot more forgiving than they were in the past, so you're more likely to actually spawn closer to a boss if you do accidentally die. My biggest worry with Takedown is how extremely meta specific it is, where Colt is basically the best 100% of the time, and Bull is second best 100% of the time. Most other brawlers competitively just can't compete with Colt consistently. Now, I don't know the best way to change that, but I'm pretty sure that Supercell will make some solid changes to the mode and make it even better. I also really appreciate Supercell showing exactly which position you're in Lone Star and Takedown, you know, in the upper right hand corner. I feel like they really need to add a leaderboard so that when you're actually spectating or you're watching replays that you can actually see how people are doing, because without that, esports is not just going to be possible. You can't, it's boring to watch, honestly. So I hope that they do that sometime soon. Now let's talk about the spooky part of this update. Obviously, guys, I love the change of scenery. The spooky music is epic. And the environment, oh my gosh, the whole Mortis's mortuary area for the maps is so cool. I love it. I feel like it adds a lot to the Brawl Stars universe and helps to make a lot of sense of some things that we've been curious about in the past. The skins are super cool. I can't talk about Piper Calavera yet or Werewolf Leon yet, but Witch Shelly has one of the coolest animations in the game. It is so cool. DJ Frank is hilarious. I love it. And Dark Knight Jesse is Such a cool star point skin. It's fantastic. I love it. I almost want it more than the other skin. Before I was Summer Jessie all the way. I don't know how I feel anymore. Now, as far as balance changes go, I feel like they did a pretty good job with a couple of exceptions. I really felt like Leon's super duration nerf was a little unnecessary. My guess is that Supercell saw a huge use rate and huge win rate for Leon in Lone Star, which is why they made the changes. But with only 6 seconds, it's pretty hard to get where you want to go as Leon for people that are, you know, if your enemies are paying attention. And he only goes invisible himself. We're talking about one brawler, you know, not 3 brawlers for 9 seconds, Sandy. Now, if they're gonna leave it at 6 seconds short, I feel like they need to really increase the speed of his smoke trail star power because it's pretty bad in comparison to Invisiheal right now. Invisiheal is so good at the moment. Also, I felt like there are 2 brawlers that really need some attention that didn't happen. Okay, Frank has nearly been completely out of the competitive meta, and I would love some sort of a base stat buff on him. Personally, I feel like the pause before he attacks needs to be shortened just a bit, ever so slightly, to make him less of a target when he's attacking people. But I'm curious what you guys think about that. Also, Jessie is one of those brawlers that below 700 trophies is one of the most used and is so good, but above 700 trophies, she is, if not the worst brawler in the game, then she's close to the worst brawler in the game. She has a terrible win rate. I really think that her Shocky star power needs to be reworked into something that will actually give a competitive advantage. Because right now, you can't really buff Shocky to make it competitive. Players just avoid the bounce shots and they get rid of the turret super fast, so Shocky's kind of useless. And because it's not a competitive star power, it's tough for Supercell to justify buffing Energize because competitive players are using Energize, even though it's not a great star power. Well, it's a good star power. It's a good star power for Jessie, but I feel like she needs a second competitive star power. That way they can actually buff and balance the two and make her beneficial in higher trophy ranges. My suggestion would be to have a star power where her attack speed either goes faster or the attack size increases, so it's a little bit easier for you to hit your targets with her. Overall, for this update, I would give it a big fat 9 out of 10. Seriously, such a fantastic update. They released new content for newer players. They released content for longtime players. They released content for gemmers. They released content for competitive players. And they've released content for creators like myself and for the communities that support those creators. There weren't any huge issues, and there's a lot of content in the game since the most recent update. I already cannot wait for this next update, and I'm very impressed with this most recent one. And I want to know what you guys think about that. That is my 100% honest review. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Brawl Stars content in the future. For now, guys, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.